Good time of day, guys. My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Corpse Party Blood Drive. It has been how long since last episode? Over 2 weeks? Again? Yeah, half of that was laziness for a time, and the other half, I got COVID, but I'm over it now, so yeah, at least I have an excuse for one of the weeks, but oh, well. Anyways, last episode, we completed I think we completed chapter 5 and 6. Because there were like 5 minutes left of chapter 5. Satoshi and Ko ran into Yoshiki, and then chapter 6, Yuka, Misuto, and, Satsuki went to Heavenly Host, and Misuto killed Satsuki, and then also killed everyone else, and it seems like Ayumi's going back in time, so depending on how far back in time she goes, I'm just guessing she's going back in time, because there's no way they're just gonna leave her and Misuto as the only living characters. Like, Jesus fuck. Also, nothing bad can happen to Satoshi, so yeah, let's just go. Chapter 7, Determination. Okay, great line. It's the end of the world as we know. Anyways, it's the end of the world as we know it. God, this rain's loud. The sounds of fire trucks and patrol cars echoed through the streets. The sky was dark, the air stale, and the many strong, cold gusts of wind bore mass amounts of dust and debris. I didn't envy the reporter her job, as she seemed mere moments from being blown off her feet. But to her credit, she persevered. Behind her, there was the shadow of an old man. He was flying through the air. Ah! I'm here reporting on what's been dubbed the nationwide ghost disaster state, which local representatives claim is now in effect as of last night. This string of unexplained and potentially unexplainable deaths has been plaguing the city presently shows no signs of letting up. Oh, geez. Suspicious and sudden demises, homicides with unknown motives, and reports of paranormal visitations are all increasing at an alarming rate. The police forces in each prefecture are still weighing their options for dealing with this issue, and few have made any official statements thus far. Frustratingly, what the fuck would the cops do? Are you kidding? Nope. The old man's shadow in the background began acting strangely, jumping in place and making various other aimless motions. The Metropolitan Police, meanwhile, have suggested that all locals travel to a safe location in groups of 3 or more as soon as possible, remaining indoors until further notice. The sudden, devastating appearance of the black pillars throughout Japan last night has also led the MLIT to declare a state of emergency, setting up disaster shelters and lookouts. Official word from local bureaus on how these pillars are affecting traffic, the status of damage to the rivers, as well as any countermeasures being taken can be seen here. Experts have analyzed the pillars' composition and concluded that they're made of a previously unknown material. They've tossed around names like spirit matter and entity wall. Why would they... Isn't that what they're called, entity walls? Or am I misremembering? Due to their rapid growth and the complete inability of even seismographs to predict where they may spawn, the number of casualties is quite high and global tensions are even higher. Everything up to and including industrial cutters and blades has been employed in an attempt to cut through these objects, but with absolutely no effect. The Ministry of Defense is using JSDF data to explore the strong possibility that these pillars are related in some way to the aerial sphere that hovered in our skies only days ago. I have here a list of newly appointed relief shelters, so if you live in one of the designated evacuation areas, please take note of the information on your screen. This information is also available on our website and through our mobile app, but do note that any gymnasiums and schools shown in white are full, so you'll need to look elsewhere. We strongly recommend that you proceed to the nearest open facility as soon as possible. And then he died. But if these things can sprout up anywhere without warning and give you no time to escape, evacuation is meaningless. There's not a damn thing anybody can do to stay safe. Whether you die or not is just dumb luck. When the hell are the police going to get off their asses and make a statement? Are they scared of public outcry? Are they hiding something? Yeah, the police are spawning the obelisks, totally. The middle-aged announcer was yelling at the top. The middle-aged announcer was yelling at the top of his lungs. In an absolute frenzy, he kicked his studio desk to the ground. A black shadow of a woman could be seen behind him. Okay. Morishige? What? Class rep. Oh, is she remembering? Shinozaki. Ayumi! Shinozaki! Huh? Oh. Ghosts, they're all gonna turn around and be hella fucked up, aren't they? Thank you for bringing us back to life. You mean I did it? Nope. Okay, well, not hella fucked up, but basically. But a whole lot more people have died now. Huh? The room grew dark, and each of the four figures who stood before me slowly melted into the blackness, becoming indistinct silhouettes. Even Mochida, Nakashima, and Kishinuma have died. So many people gone. What's this? Even we haven't actually been revived, huh? What was it you were trying to do again, Ayumi? No! No! I screamed and looked up. It was just a dream. I was at home, watching TV. I scrunched myself up again, putting my face to my knees. Bring them back. Bring them back. I was like a broken record with that, but it was a doomed idea from the start. Everything I've done has been pointless. So what do I do now? I thought I could revive them. I really did. I mean, if I can come back from Yoshie's house, despite those injuries and losing my sister, then anybody should be able to come back. Except you didn't die. So, bit of a different beast there. I raised my face from my knees, eyes red and burning. Okay. Then, as if I hadn't already had enough tragedy in my life, I heard a loud crash just outside my house. It was unmistakably a car wreck, and a rather severe one at that. It's your mom. The car's alarm was going off, but I was trying my best to ignore it. I didn't need this right now, so I simply wasn't going to bother with it. Sis? What do I do, sis? Sis? It's the police. Or it's just nothing. News anchor. Up next, we've learned that the CEO of PL Promotions Co. Inc. is among those who've gone missing. Yeah, we know. Oh. Okay. There's no reason for me to go upstairs right now. Alright. I need to get to the front door. Okay. Then why even make this a gameplay segment? Also, the alarm wasn't going off during that tiny bit of gameplay. Great. The car alarm outside was still going off, and it was getting harder and harder to ignore it by the second. What? Whoever was ringing my doorbell was really, really persistent. The irregular sound brought me back to reality. I crept over to the peephole and silently looked through it to see who'd be visiting me at this hour. On the other side of the door stood a man I didn't recognize. He had short hair and he was pressing the chime frantically as if his life depended on it. Who is that? I was kind of creeped out. I really shouldn't open the door, but you're gonna do it anyways, aren't you? I moved away from the peephole. Okay, yeah. He's ringing the doorbell. The persistent ringing continued for a bit, but then finally, thankfully, came to an abrupt halt. And then she opens the door and he's still there. I slowly crept back to the peephole and took another look. The man was still there. He was just pacing back and forth in place, in front of a house that, for all he knew, had no occupants. Oh, yeah, okay, he's crazy. After another short while, he approached the door again and immediately put his eye right up to the outside of the peephole.
If I move now, he'd totally know I'm here.
The man moved his head away, but quickly replaced it with his finger, which he swirled around and around inside the tight space as if trying to reach my eye, or poke it out. Then he stepped away from the door. I could have taken this opportunity to slowly move away from the peephole, but I was oddly transfixed.
Thank God. Now all he has to do is leave.
Of course, the second I thought that, he came back to the door yet again. Unsurprising. And yet again, he skipped the doorbell and went straight for the peephole.
What does he want? Why isn't he saying anything? This is really creeping me out. Well, fine then. I'll just open the door and give him a piece of my mind.
Bad idea. I grabbed the doorknob and was moments away from following through with that plan when suddenly... Oh, hi.
Ayumi. Sachiko. Don't open it. What? He's dead.
Okay.
Sachiko.
I slowly turned to look at her.
The Nirvana is the world of the dead. And that world is coming here.
Another car crash. Then there was an oddly familiar sound. Another car accident, again right outside my door. This time I looked outside through the peephole and saw the man from earlier, sandwiched between a car and the wall of one of the houses across the street. He was absolutely mangled. But after only a few moments, the man's corpse disappeared, leaving nothing but a shadow in its place on the wall and ground alike. A black stain.
What is this? What's happening to the world?
Not that I even really had to ask.
Is this from breaking down the walls of the Nirvana?
I wasn't just asking myself. I was asking Sachiko, whose presence still remained just behind my back, who's still here, but by the way. But she just looked up at me with sad eyes, even though she's floating above her.
That person just now was one of the deceased. And if he just turned into a black stain, then...
Oh, he was erased from existence. No, it couldn't be. I pulled my smartphone from my pocket and forced myself to remain calm enough to access the photo, but then just stopped and stared.
God, no.
The photo displayed on my phone, which was now on the floor. Oh, great. No longer had just my friends from before with blacked out faces, but Mochida, Nakashima, and Kishinuma as well. Whale, that's one way to write it. I pounded the floor with both hands and shuddered violently. Cult leader, meanwhile, thou shalt repent! Follower, oh! The end of the world is nigh! Oh! God shall not forgive those who are unclean and indiscreet. Oh! Some cultist group was speaking on TV. I guess the news must have ended at some point when I wasn't paying attention. You can still hear it?
The end of the world, huh?
This time I was just plain talking to myself. Ha! You're not dead? Weren't you shoved down that entire fucking tower?
That's right. The end. Who'd have ever thought the last remaining Yaguro could have enough suicide bomber determination to dream up something like this?
Magari appeared in my hallway. I had no idea how long she'd been there, nor how she'd gotten in. I noticed she still had her heels on, though.
It's You?
I stood up, and Sachiko was, as always, waiting in the wings behind me.
I came back with the Ever After Stones. Used them in midair while I was falling down the bell tower.
Okay, I guess that works.
Heavenly Host is totally destroyed though, so these are just plain ordinary stones now.
To demonstrate, Magari snapped the two together.
Nirvana, I summon the dead. See?
I probably flinched, but she was right. Nothing happened.
Within the next few hours, this world will be totally blanketed in chaos. It's going to be the new land of the dead. Sucks, huh? This is seriously the cataclysm. And to top it all off, that's my order on TV there. Fucking shameless, aren't they?
Oh, I thought you meant like a fucking, I don't know, a food order. You mean the cult, I guess.
Even I've got to draw the line at that point.
She pulled back her chin and flashed me a strained smile.
Oh yeah, your parents went crazy and joined, so you know.
Oh, great. This day couldn't have been much worse for me.
Are you okay leaving things like this then?
Magari wasn't mincing words, it seemed. I held my hand in both head in both hands and looked down at the ground.
If you feel responsible, come with me for a bit. I have something to discuss with you about your bloodline.
Magari approached me and grabbed my arm. Sachiko, still right behind me, began to growl like a guard dog.
Get your hands off of me! I can't even save my friends! I can't do anything! I don't know what the hell difference the blood of the Shinozaki's supposed to make, but I'm just Ayumi, and Ayumi's worthless! Besides, the person who first introduced the Nirvana to this world was Yoshie, not me!
I screamed as loudly and as fiercely as I could.
I didn't do anything wrong!
I closed my eyes and cried the hardest I've ever cried, sobbing so intensely that I found myself nearly hyperventilating.
Ah!
Nope.
Yeah!
Magari slapped me down to the ground.
You're one stubborn bitch, you know that? Got one hell of an ego, too. For once in your life, just suck it up!
Jesus Christ, it's like they seriously made Ayumi a completely different character from the first game. Like, holy shit. Whatever. I held my cheek and continued sobbing. Magari was looking down on me with contempt in her eyes, but also a certain intensity that seemed more akin to desperation than anything.
Ayumi Shinozaki, here's one fact you should know.
Nope.
Once the seventh pillar, the Sephiroth of Knowledge, starts up, it's all over. The end of the world is carved in stone. However...
Magari closed in on me as if our lips were about to touch. Okay, game. Sachiko growled again, but Magari was clearly not intimidated in the slightest.
The Book of Shadows isn't gone yet. What? You came in contact with the original book, so since you draw the blood of the Shinozaki, you may yet be able to fight Misuto.
I was still hesitating, and Magari apparently didn't much like that.
God, just come the fuck on!
Suddenly, Magari was pulling up the top of my uniform. My plump white stomach was now fully exposed. Okay.
That piece of shit book is right here.
She pointed to a spot just below my belly button.
What?
As she did so, my stomach started growling with an unearthly roar and shifted in place slightly.
Eek!
It was almost like there was a snake slithering around inside of me. This makes sense, totally. This is not stupid at all.
Sure would have been nice if you noticed that a little sooner. That thing's been sleeping inside you since you first used its power in the basement of Yoshie Shinozaki's estate.
Magari crossed her arms and snorted.
Of course, it's only a container. Nothing's in it right now. Growling like a cocky bastard.
The growl that came from within my own body sounded like that of a wild beast.
There's no way. Is this for real?
This game's so dumb.
I was actually tricked pretty good. Originally, the Elders sent me to support you in your efforts to obtain the Book of Shadows from that other realm, among other things. Okay. But of course, that still means I was planning on stealing it from you as soon as you got your hands on it. Now, though, that doesn't matter. If the world's going to pot, there's not really any meaning in becoming the heir to the Martubas anymore, is there? And that just fucking sucks. Huh?
Are you paying attention at all? Fucking, I swear, Ayumi's just got fucking Sora DDD syndrome right now. Just, what? Huh? I don't know what's going on. What does that mean?
It all goes back to Misuto. Misuto! If that little fucker thinks he's won the war, he's got another thing coming. Don't you just want to slaughter him like a pig right now? You should stop being such a pussy and look at all the things you're capable of. There'll be time enough to abandon all your potential after you're dead.
My eyes begin to well up yet again.
Are you saying there's still something I can do?
She's been saying that. Magari's expression turned deathly serious.
Do whatever you can to bring that Book of Shadows out of your body and gain control over it. If the book recognizes your determination, it should extract itself naturally.
Oops, did not mean to skip that line.
And if you have the power of the book at your disposal, it'll lead the way right back into Misuto's Nirvana.
Bye, I'm gonna go die in a car crash. I can only stare incredulously at my abdomen. Magari took this opportunity to open my front door, again to illustrate her point. Outside, the weather was still completely anomalous, with hurricane-like winds and debris clouds everywhere. The clouds up above, too, were moving abnormally fast through a disconcerting blood-red sky. Every few seconds, a sound not unlike a spark plug firing could be heard echoing from the distance as another black flame ignited and burned itself out in some random spot.
I mean, you're going to lie down and die with this world either way, so what have you got to lose? Show me how tough you are while you've still got the chance. Just remember, the book was born from black magic. It adores cruelty and blood.
With those parting words, Magari disappeared into the city, the sounds of her heels clacking softer and softer until they were no longer audible at all. Sachiko and I could do nothing but see her off. Okay, great. The entire nation was now plagued with entity walls and black, silhouette-like spirits of the dead. Panicky citizen. Ah! Ah! That works, right? The entity walls were rapidly destroying schools, downtown bypasses, and other crucial traffic cornerstones. Because people are driving right now, yep. Even today, gotta go work at Amazon. And even rescue shelters, creating countless new casualties by the minute. People were running in the streets, panicked and confused, and almost certainly not much longer for this earth. Where are we supposed to go? It doesn't matter. Just run or you'll be crushed! What about overseas? How are you gonna get there with the sky and the ocean both screwed up? What, the ocean's fucked too? Great. Meanwhile, in Miss Kwan's office, nothing. The black-suited agents watched in horror as each TV monitor displayed a feed from a different news network across the world, and the story was exactly the same on all of them. Boss, what are we supposed to do?
How's a book supposed to recognize my determination? What the hell am I supposed to do?
I mean, if it's in your stomach, just fucking kill yourself.
So how do I show the book?
Oh, do I have to figure it out?
I don't have any reason to go in the kitchen right now.
There's knives there.
There's nothing I need to do in here right now.
Okay. Okay, so this is the room I have to go in. Ah! You! You were gonna stab yourself earlier in the game. Comes full circle.
Sis, give me strength.
Was I right? Did I In front of the mirror dresser sat Hinoe's zodiac dagger. The only one of her belongings that actually still exists in this room, apparently. She was quite the minimalist despite having a very Victorian room. Is that window over there still fucking open? Why? I gripped it in terror, closed my eyes, and started shaking.
Oh, do whatever you can to bring that book of shadows out of your body and gain control over it. Just remember, the book was born from black magic. It adores cruelty and blood.
I couldn't back down now. I lifted the dagger in front of me, poised to plunge it into my body and carve myself open as samurai once did in the ritualistic suicide called seppuku. I think everyone knows what seppuku is. But I couldn't go through with it. I was too scared of death. Too scared of the pain.
I can't! I can't!
The face I reflected back at me in the mirror was twisted with fear. I didn't even recognize myself. But I could see in those eyes all the weight that had been put on my shoulders. All the responsibility I'd been forced to bear.
I'm a coward. I'm small and weak. The world doesn't need me. I won't be missed. But I can make a difference. Here and now. Ah!
My mind was made up. I lifted the dagger again. Oh, wow. Great job having a 30-second character arc. Oh, you want to have another one? Only to bring it halfway to its destination before halting its descent once more. No matter how determined I was, no matter how strong my conviction, this was literally suicide. I knew what had to be done, but knowing and accepting are two different things. I began crying like a baby. This was the most afraid I'd ever been in my entire life, and almost certainly the most afraid I ever would be. At this point, the only way I'd be able to go through with it was to clear my mind and let my arms make the motions automatically. And before I knew it, that's exactly what I did. Alright, great job on your 1-minute character arc. Schnick. It's most likely because I wasn't thinking about it, or anything else for that matter, that the dagger found absolutely no resistance. It's a fucking dagger! Yeah, your skin's not exactly made of rock. It was like applying excess force to slice a cake. For a very brief moment, I felt nothing, but then the convulsions started. First in my abdomen, then quickly spreading up to the rest of my body. My abdomen was now spasming and constricting involuntarily. And the rest of me wasn't faring much better. My entire body was in total chaos. And then she dies. The end. Roll the credits. The extent of the agony I'd felt at that moment was absolutely impossible to convey. It was all-encompassing. I was utterly incapable of focusing on anything else. My lower body was spewing bright red blood, thick black blood, and an unknown yellow substance it's probably just piss. All of which were blending together into a slurry that was, at its core, my life essence. Okay. This went far beyond anything I could have ever imagined. The sheer shock of it rendered my mind a jumble that I simply could not untangle. I knew there was a reason I'd done this to myself, something I absolutely had to do, and it was crucial. But regaining enough cognitive function to do it would be a challenge.
I can't do this. To cut across yet and remove the book. There's no way.
My head was swimming as I tried, beyond all reasonable measure, to hang on to consciousness just long enough to complete the task at hand. I could still see my face in the mirror, but only just, as the blood that had been spurting from my abdomen had largely glazed it over. It was a truly frightful sight, compared to, if not more disturbing than anything I'd seen in Heavenly Host.
I can't do it.
I felt feeble, helpless, and the face in the mirror was smiling at me for it, darkly, obscenely. You can't do it. Jet black crows flew by outside the window for atmosphere, and in that moment, a fire sparked within me. Another fucking 10-second character arc, great. Feeling oddly resolute, I gripped the dagger jutting out from my abdomen. and yanked it to the side with every last bit of strength I had left in me. The spray of blood gushing out of me became almost exponentially more violent. Most surprisingly, it seemed like equal amounts of blood were rushing to my brain as well, and the effect was feeling like the blood vessels in my head were on the verge of bursting. And then it just spawns, hello. But just as I felt like I was moments from my final blackout, I saw something. There, among my own entrails on the ground, was a blood-drenched tome.
This...
It was the Book of Shadows, without question. Dead. Dun 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 dun. My vision blurred from the intense loss of blood and even more intense pain. I fell forward, unable to maintain any semblance of balance any longer. And I landed right on it. With a loud, warm and unpleasant splash, my face planted firmly into the book, which was steaming under the odd temperature differentials of my viscera.
Oh, I'm fine now!
I awoke with a start. I was still in Hinoe's room. What, is it metaphorical? Like metaphorical seppuku? Like, you only metaphorically killed yourself? So, in some act of vain determination? Well, it's not vain. I shouldn't say vain. But, I don't know, it just reminds me of that fucking one fight from Demon Slayer, where to stop himself from falling asleep, he just keeps on cutting off his head or something. Like, I don't know, whatever. I mean, it's not completely stupid if that's what it was. Instinctively and frantically, I looked down at my abdomen. There, I saw a scar resembling the ones I'd almost died from during the blowback at Yoshie Shinozaki's house, runic lettering and all. But that was it. The bleeding had stopped. In fact, there was no blood anywhere in the room. And on the floor in front of me sat the Book of Shadows. Not a copy, but the original.
This is...
I slowly touched it. And from behind me, Sachiko spoke.
The book has acknowledged you as its owner.
She was staring at me with a docile, almost reverent look in her eyes.
Cool, can I become God?
I picked up the book and looked at it, fear and awe running through my now queer head. I talk. It grumbled a bit, darting its eyes back and forth. Eventually, it seemed to settle on a specific direction, locking its gaze. Seemed to be looking out the window, which is still open. For a reason, I suppose. Close the window, it sucks in here. The CG has the window shut, great.
What is that? Most likely the entrance to the Nirvana. Wait, Kisaragi Academy's in that direction.
Oh, hi parents.
Dad, Mom, thank goodness, I was worried sick about...
The world has ended. The world has ended.
Dad, Mom...
Oh, bye! I can literally just leave instead of talking to them.
Alright, cool. I'll be back for you, I swear!
I mean, she knows what's going on anyways. She's not that dumb. Why are you okay. Yeah. Yep. An opening for the third act of the game, huh? Holy shit, this is fucking loud! I'll just be quiet for a moment and let this play, I guess! Okay, but why does this just look like a commercial? Damn, they just put her sprite upside down. Pretty decent song, at least. You know, if you're gonna do something like that, you better end the game in a cool way. Going into the third act. Because we're probably like 2/3 of the way done, right? Or it's 75, maybe.
Sachiko, I can't believe I'm saying this, but having you on my side is kind of reassuring, even though it just kind of happened without me questioning it.
I mean, yeah, it was completely set up by Birthday Bash, but the characters don't know that. Sachiko looked at me with sweet, innocent eyes. Okay. Alright, we're at the school. When I arrived at Kisaragi Academy, I got a much better look at the phenomenon. It was like a whirlpool with a red, dully shining hole in its center. Was this the entrance to the Ever After?
Beyond that is the Nirvana.
I thought they said it wasn't there anymore.
Kinetic magic? Like how witches fly? No way!
One-line flashback. I closed my eyes, clasped the Book of Shadows tightly in both hands, and prayed.
Book of Shadows? Lend me strength, even though you almost killed me.
Oh, now you can fly. Okay. When I opened my eyes again and looked up into the sky, my body began to float. I was in control of the Book of Shadows. I was a legitimate practitioner of magic now. This moment felt almost like an awakening to endless new possibilities.
I'm actually flying? Wow!
Not the time to get impressed by that. World's kinda ending. And right next to me, flying by my side, was Sachiko.
Ayumi? Huh?
Ah! The momentary loss of focus dropped me out of my trance, and I immediately began falling. I gripped the book even tighter and concentrated harder than before, and sure enough, I began rising up toward the vortex once more. Do you have to crouch in midair?
Be careful, Ayumi. It's the book that's allowing you to use these powers. You mustn't let go of it. Understood. Whee!
I still can't take the chibi art style seriously. Oh, hi, what are you doing there? As I flew higher, I could see Magari sitting on the roof of the school.
Looks like you managed to gain control over the Book of Shadows after all. I underestimated you, Ayumi Shinozaki. You even installed an escalator from Kisaragi Academy right up to the Nirvana. Not too shabby. There is one thing you should probably know, though. The Nirvana's encroachment upon and direct connection to this world isn't really your fault at all.
She already knew that. Ah! Why is that surprising?
The very moment the heavenly host Nirvana first appeared in this world. No, even farther back. At the moment when the Book of Shadows was first created, the coming of this apocalypse was basically an inevitability.
Okay. I looked into Magari's face. She was being completely sincere.
The former owners of that book, including Yoshie Shinozaki, all tried desperately to stop it, or at least slow it down. And when they learned they couldn't, they left that fate to the next generation instead. That's why the book continued to be handed down through the ages.
Okay.
I see. What that means is, this all would have happened anyway, with or without you. Save for one thing, Your actions resulted in the power of the Nirvana being handed over to Misuto, the surviving member of that fucked up Yagura cult. And you do need to take responsibility for that. Responsibility? You have the real Book of Shadows. But all the power of the Nirvana, broken up and distributed throughout Heavenly Host, has been absorbed by Misuto's fake book. If you can get it back and seal it in that one, though, you can easily outclass him. And if you can go one step further, taking into Nirvana's core, then that book will be complete. Now is the time to strike. Go in there and fuck him up! Before the world ends, let him see what real power tastes like. I'll be watching.
Alright, see ya. Magari grew smaller as I climbed higher and higher, and as I looked up, I could see the threshold looming even larger, poised as if to wrap itself around me.
Ayumi? Are you scared? Are you scared of dying? I don't know. Am I?
I smiled at her, and to my surprise, it was a genuine smile. Somehow or another, I was feeling very calm. Sachiko looked at me with wide eyes.
What's wrong?
She turned away briefly, then looked over at me once more. It almost seemed like in that brief moment, she changed expressions in much the way someone would change a suit.
Ayumi, what you should be scared of is Sachi, and the person in Nirvana's core. Don't let your guard down. The person in the Nirvana's core? It isn't Misuto?
Okay.
There's someone else.
Great. Is it Quan? Is she evil after all? Oh! I looked back up to find myself practically right on top of the hole in the sky that stood in front of the abnormally huge red moon. Oh, no, wait, isn't it Yuka? It's probably Yuka. He said he had to use her for something, right? Alright. Blomp. Blomp, blomp. And with my conviction settled, I jumped in. The harsh flash, the nausea, and the wrenching tightness in my chest caused me to lose consciousness for a second. But then I awoke to find that heaven and earth had switched places. It looked as though I were falling headfirst into a massive storm, with flashing lightning and roaring thunder. It almost seemed like I was previewing what the world would look like after its destruction. In the sky, there was an enormous face of a doll, and the walls around me were all made of flesh. Oh, wow. Hey, name tag! I clenched the Book of Shadows with both hands as I slowly made my landing in this new version of the Nirvana. It was a mountain of rubble.
Coming in for landing. Oh, wait. Or not yet, power trip. What is this? Everything's broken to bits.
Nice job.
How? What the hell? Ayumi, are you okay? Yeah, I can handle this much at least.
You didn't fall very far. I slowly, carefully found my footing and pulled myself back up to my feet. This was an entirely different heavenly host. Again, it bore almost no resemblance whatsoever to any version of the school we've traversed previously, because it's fucking rubble!
Heavenly Host Elementary turned into this? Where are the others?
Oh, fuck, I'm dying.
Mochida! Nagashima! Kishinuma! Miss Kwan! Aiko! Not Yuka! I don't care about her.
I called out to my friends, but received no answer. All I could hear was the rumbling and twisting of the air around me. Well, Mochida is also her last name. Oh. What the fuck?
Where are you guys? Oh no! Oh look, a dead body. Is this one of you?
Name tag rests beside score. Kitashiro High Class 3-2. Kazuki Munakata. Crushed by a piece of the school.
Where are they? Guys? Guys? Can't find them.
What the fuck? There was no mistaking it. In the midst of the wreckage, pieces of clothing. Yeah, why did she call Aiko's name? She was already dead. She got her head cut off. Fucking. In the midst of the wreckage, pieces of clothing from Kishinuma, Mochida, Nakashima, Miss Kwan, and Aika were clearly visible. And the unfortunate souls who were wearing this clothing were all buried under fallen beams and other debris, and surrounded by a veritable sea of blood. I knelt down and began sobbing uncontrollably.
You guys! Misuto! Show yourself! What you've done is unforgivable!
Didn't Sachiko kill your other 4 friends? Fucking... Sachiko stared at me as I continued to scream and cry. Man, can't wait for the next corpse party where Misuto's a good guy.
Ayumi? What is it, Sachiko? I'll see what I can do. I can try to restore Heavenly Host Elementary's destiny. At least some small part of it.
The looping bullshit.
What?
Sachiko produced a calavera necklace from her pocket. Ah, that thing!
You don't remember this, but it's important.
The skeletal figure on the chain made a slight hollow clinking sound as it was handled, very much as actual bone would. It looked handmade and seemed oddly warm, like a keepsake.
What is that?
I had this weird feeling that I'd seen this object somewhere before. They do this with fucking everything that was in Birthday Bash. It's just like, it's oddly familiar. Like, when Azusa showed up, when we got that name tag in Chapter 1, I'm pretty sure. Fucking seeing Aiko, it's like we'd met before. Like, Jesus fuck.
I swear that looks familiar. But from where?
Though she was looking down at the ground a bit, slightly guilty and slightly guarded, Sachiko giggled slightly.
This is my treasure.
A big smile crept across her lips, and for a moment she looked every bit the part of an ordinary little girl.
Huh?
I was confused. Sachiko placed her hand on the Book of Shadows. The fact loop. And the book spoke.
Repeat the same day.
Okay, yep. Finally going back in time. I figured this would happen as soon as Sachiko showed up. Followed by Sachiko.
Ah!
So they're going to retcon that whole plot point where it's like,
even if you loop, the destiny's set in stone, bitch!
though she said only a little bit. Suddenly I was in Yoshie Shinozaki's clinic. The very same clinic Nakashima and I had visited on that fateful day.
This person is Yoshie.
I was viewing Sachiko's memory of an event from long ago. Yoshie was writing something in her journal. I've analyzed the anagrams and determined that all the spells written in this book are nothing more than theories. Not a one of them has ever been properly tested. There are no success rates. There's no data of any kind. So why was I naive enough to attempt something so foolish? I've devoted everything I have, my blood, my soul, to an end that was destined never to succeed in the first place. And now, the spells failed and the Nirvana has escaped from the book. I've created a whole other dimension! Worst of all the deceased who become trapped in that dimension are erased from existence in our world. And you're gonna show how to fix that? Sachiko came into the room from the back. Her eyes met with Yoshie's, and she smiled. However, since I was able to suppress the stray Nirvana... Sachiko stood obediently by her mother, wearing the white dress we'd seen on her in Heavenly Host. Yoshie patted her on the head approvingly.
Slurp.
Sachiko then coughed out a fine black mist, but sucked it back into her mouth like a carp. I could at least rescue one person's existence from that shadowy, forgotten fate. The face on the image was blacked out, like those of Seiko and the others. However... You can bring them back! Whoa! To my surprise, that black marking was slowly peeling itself away, revealing the features underneath. I thought we were repeating time. Why are we still here? Oh, never mind. My vision slowly cleared, and when it did, amidst all the rumbling and shaking, I found myself back in Heavenly Host Elementary.
What the fuck? Oh!
I'm sorry. What the fuck? Then promptly, Sachiko collapsed to the ground.
Sachiko!
Without thinking, I picked her up and held her limp, light body in my arms. She just fucking falls over like a domino. She must have used up her... Oh, she's fucking cracking.
Who else do I have ice cream with?
She must have used up her spirit energy as she was clearly drained. She was breathing, but only very lightly. By the way, why is there, like, no fucking music this chapter? Half of everything that's been happening, there's been no music. Oh, thank you. Wait, isn't this the chapter end music? Is that it?
Poor girl seems to be in pain. Wait, am I actually holding Sachiko?
Even though she's a ghost, Sachiko was real. She had to have been, or I wouldn't have been able to hold on to her like this. She actually never died, they forgot. She seemed injured, but not in any traditional manner. There were cracks running through her body, each one emanating an unearthly blue, almost gaseous light. Meanwhile, the school itself was also cracking and breaking all around me, making an incredible noise. The roof above began to crumble away, providing glimpses of the real world. And incredibly, the entity walls hadn't spawned there yet. Yeah, that is what they were called. Then why the fuck did the people on the news be like, yeah, we're just gonna happen to call them entity walls? How do you know that?
We're back! This is before everyone died, except for Morishige and Mayu and Miss Yui and Seiko and Inumaru and maybe also Aiko. And everyone from fucking Byakuran.
Byakudan? I forget.
Sachiko, hang in there! Ayumi, I'm sorry, I couldn't revert more time. No, Sachiko, thank you. That was amazing. You did great.
I could hardly believe it. I just complimented Sachiko of all people on a job well done.
You're praising me?
Her newly formed physical body was rapidly beginning to evaporate into mist. Why give her a physical body then? Like, oh, she was a ghost, but then she did a thing which turned her physical and now she's fading. My voice was trembling, though I suspect it was less with fear and more with confusion. Yeah, I would be too.
Yes, that was incredible. You're a good girl, Sachiko.
She looked up into the sky, eyes beginning to well with tears. She was struggling to speak. Soon, she wouldn't be able to at all.
I wanted to apologize. What?
She barely had any voice left, but was persevering nonetheless. This was clearly something she didn't want to leave unsaid, no matter what.
I know you can never forgive me, but I wanted to apologize anyway.
And with that, she began full-on crying.
Sachiko.
I couldn't help doing the same.
I killed a lot of people. I'm not a good girl. You shouldn't praise someone like me.
The tears were streaming down my face now. Sachiko's voice was so mournful, so genuine.
But you just saved a lot of people now too. So, thank you. You know, it's actually fine that you killed like hundreds of students and teachers and faculty, because you stopped like 5 of them from dying just now.
A massive earthquake shook the ground. I'm not trying to make it sound like what she's doing here is bad, or like that she's irredeemable. I don't really care. Sachiko looked scared, so I patted her head and hugged her tightly. Plus she was also like kind of possessed, right? Like her memories of the school looping or whatever, I don't know. She then looked me squarely in the eye, gripping her calavera necklace tightly in her hand as if it were a rosary.
It's strange, isn't it? What is? Once you know you did right, passing on isn't so scary anymore. Sachiko! Even though you were already dead, literally.
Womp. Sachiko and the blue light alike both disappeared completely. She was gone. The being I was hugging just moments ago no longer existed. All I could do was clench my fists and mourn. The look on Sachiko's face when she asked if I was scared of dying kept flashing through my head.
Sachiko, you were the one who was scared, weren't you?
I kept my head hung low for a moment, then stood up and wiped the tears from my eyes. Accompanying the sound of rumbling, one single entity wall now stood in the real world. The cycle was beginning anew.
Watch over me, Sachiko. One Shinozaki to another.
And then she trips. Or not. Hi.
Praise. Good girl. Unfair, Sachiko. Please stop forgetting I'm an antagonist in this game.
Achievement unlocked, determination. Yep, that was the end of the chapter. Alright. That wasn't horrible. This game's really dumb, but I don't think it's, like, all that bad, you know? It's more like, I don't know, this is probably how people feel playing Kingdom Hearts. Like, I compared Ayumi to Sora in Dream Drop Distance earlier. This game definitely feels like Corpse Party's Dream Drop Distance. Like, without a doubt. Not horrible, but, like, really weird. EVP entries for Yui Shishido have been unlocked. Rad for Mayu, for Sachiko, for Morishige. Soulful testimony from Ikue Otani had been unlocked. New Encyclopedia Obscura entries. Calavera doll, Sachiko's family photo, Sachiko Shinozaki, Yoshie Shinozaki, fact loop. EX Chapter 5 has been unlocked. Alright, achievement unlocked, threading the needle. Who the fuck is that in the photo? Some blonde girl with a ponytail on the side of her head. Would you like to save the system data? Yes! I don't know why I read that out loud. Alright, well, hey, we're probably really near the end of the game now. Like, Jesus. There was hardly any gameplay in that even. There was one name tag. How many name tags were in the chapters after this? Yeah, there was only the one there. 8 has a substantial number. Okay, 9 has an even more substantial number. So there's still gameplay left. And then 10 has seemingly less, but still some. Was there an 11? I forget. No. Okay. Well, damn, I guess that's gonna be it for this episode. It's nice to be back, I guess, because it's been 2 weeks and I had COVID. But yeah, I'm honestly kind of optimistic about how the game will end. I was initially, like, as we got further into this game, I started getting worried. Chapter 7 in particular really had a lot of weird shit, but I don't know, the time loop's kind of weird, but at least it's already established stuff. Like, I said it, oh, it's just like DDD, but, you know, the problem with DDD is that it introduced time travel in that game, and it made no fucking sense. But in this game, there's a lot of new shit, like the cults and making a book of shadows and the idea of the Nirvana, but I don't know, like, it fits well enough. Like, for as all over the place as this game is and as weird as it is, I don't know, I guess I can buy it, whatever. So, yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!